maybe the husband says, well, 15 times a week, and the wife says once every 2 years, and that's and neither of them want to admit that that's what they want or need, and so they won't talk about it, and so you have to corner people if you're a treacherous therapist. And the way you do that is by starting with something absurd. It's like, well, how about once every 2 years? And both of them pretty much agree almost instantly that that's probably a little on the scarce side. And then you might say, well, how about 4 times a day? And virtually without exception, although not always, both parties agree that that's probably aiming for the stars, let's say. But then now you've got people nicely trapped, because it's somewhere between 4 times a day and once every 2 years. And then you can pull in the walls. It's like, well, how about 6 times a week? Or how about once every 3 months? And, that's a lot closer, right? It's still not that close, but it's a lot closer. And generally, my experience was that people who have relatively productive and engaged and multidimensional lives settle on something varying between 1 to 3 times a week. And that's a close approximation. And I've also noticed that couples who aren't intimate physically, about once a week at minimum, things tend to deteriorate across time, and the relationship tends not to hold. And I've also noticed that unless you spend about 90 minutes a week
maybe he's going
listening
to get to this, but it's not just the quantity of sex, like how often a couple engages in the marital act with each other. It's the quality of it. What is happening in that act? Is it truly a marital act? And by that I mean, is it truly a participation in and renewal of the marriage covenant? Are we speaking honestly with our bodies? Are we saying with our bodies, I give myself to you freely. I give myself to you totally. I give myself to you faithfully. And if it is God's will, let there be life. Is that the quality of this act? Is that what we are wanting to say? Or are we just saying, I have an itch and I need to scratch it, and you qualify to scratch my itch? Well, if that's our attitude, if that's the quality of our marital act, it's not really a marital act. We're just using the other as an object to scratch my own itch. And that other person will rightly feel, you have a utilitarian attitude towards me. I'm just an object for your own release here, and I don't care to engage in that kind of behavior. If married couples are focusing on those inner purifications that are required to learn how to love one another freely, totally, faithfully, and fruitfully, I believe in the normal course of events. Now, those trials are difficult, they're painful, not fun to go through, but the fruit that it bears is that the couple longs to become one in a healthy, holy way. And in their own relationship, due to their own dispositions, with respect for their own dispositions, they will find, if they're facing truly those inner purifications that are required, they will find a rhythm of frequency that is appropriate to their own personal dispositions. Again, I think the emphasis should be on the quality and not the quantity or the frequency.